Welcome back to another MOTOBOB video, and this week Kawasaki announced 4 new color schemes for their Z series of bikes to celebrate 50 years since the introduction of the Z lineup. Now I've got a pretty large American audience, so I can translate for you. There are 4 new color schemes for the Z series of bikes to celebrate 50 years since the introduction of the Z lineup. Now I absolutely refuse to talk like that on a permanent basis, so you'll have to do the rest of the video yourself. And in this video we'll take a look at the origins of this iconic line of bikes, as well as show you the 4 new schemes that they've introduced. But before we get started, a quick thanks to my channel sponsors, Speedo Angels. They make dash protectors for a massive range of bikes, including Kawasaki's, and they could save you a bunch of cash if you were to accidentally scuff your screen. Take the Z900 for example, £1,116.14 for a new TFT dash. But a screen protector from Speedo Angels is just over a tenner. There's a link in the description, as well as a 20% discount code. So 50 years makes it 2022 minus 50. 1972, when the first Z bike was introduced, and that was the iconic Z1. This bike was a huge leap forward in performance and a move away from the 2 strokes that Kawasaki predominantly produced up to that point. There's a great quote from their general manager at the time. He said that Kawasaki wanted to build the king motorcycle, a bike beside which the finest motorcycles in the world would shrivel, a bike that would leave a hot and smoking scar across the face of the sport, and you just can't do that with a 2-stroke. Big, strong words there, but the bike backed it up with a big, strong 903cc inline 4 that made 85 horsepower, which was far beyond anything else available at the time. It cemented Kawasaki's reputation as a performance bike manufacturer and kicked off the Z name, evolving into the GP Z1100, and after that influencing bikes like the Zephyr, the Z750, right up to the modern day. So it's no surprise that Kawasaki wanted to give it a nod this year, and they've done so with their retro naked lineup. So first up, their sporty retro, the Z900RS, which was already heavily influenced by the Z1. The shape of the tank, the seat, and the tail section all match pretty closely, but this new fireball finish brings it even closer. Kawasaki say that a special painting process was developed especially for these models. The candy colors of the tank and bodywork are applied in layers to bring out a deep, glossy texture that enhances the inherent beauty of these machines. Not only do you get that stunning paint job, but also a dedicated seat covering with a bit of a textured look to it and its own stitching to match. There's also gold wheels as a nod to the 50th anniversary, a Z50th logo on the top of the tank, and more retro looking side badges that state double overhead cam that almost identically match those on the original Z1. There's also a double overhead cam badge on the engine covers. Now when the Z900RS was launched a couple of years back, it was actually available in a very similar finish. It's been dropped from the lineup now, so you can only get black, green or blue, but still the extra little touches and the gold wheels help to differentiate this 50th anniversary edition, and for me, it's probably the best looking finish they've ever offered. It is 600 quid on top of the starting price for the black standard model, but I think you can see where the money's gone. Now the Z900RS has just had a smaller sibling launch, the Z650RS, which is powered by their 650 parallel twin. Not quite true to the original Z1 in that sense, but it does offer the same incredibly good retro looks in a more affordable and approachable package for perhaps newer riders or anyone who feels like they don't need the full 110 horsepower. And yes, this one gets the 50th anniversary option as well, so just 400 quid more than the starting price this time, and yet it gets a lot of the same touches. So the fireball red paint, gold wheels, dedicated seat covering, tank logo and side badges, just not the engine case badges. So if you want the same aesthetics but don't really care about the performance, then this one could be the one for you, given that you'll save almost 3.5 grand versus the 900. Now at the more modern end of the spectrum, we've got the Z900, and they've taken a slightly more modern inspiration for the finish here with the Z1100 GP of the 1980s. This particular shade of paint is called Firecracker Red, and it certainly makes a big change from the usual black or white with hints of green that we're used to seeing on their modern naked bikes. Plenty of nice extra touches here as well, so the silver and black stripes on the tank and bodywork clearly echo the Z1100, and then you've got Firecracker Red wheels to match with silver pinstripes. Tank logos are finished in gold. There's an anniversary date on the intake shrouds, a 50th anniversary logo on the front mudguard, and they've even finished the 4 counters in gold to match. And again, these ones get a slightly different seat leather for a tiny bit extra of a retro vibe. Like the RS models, the smaller sibling is also available in this finish, so the Z650. This one gets the paint, graphics, gold logos, red wheels, and the seat covering, just not the gold forks. You'll pay $300 more for this one versus the starting price of the standard Z650, and it's $400 more for the 900. And if that wasn't enough, for each of the 4 models, anyone who buys one will get a special book commemorating the history of the Z bikes, which won't be on sale to the general public. No word on whether these bikes will be limited by number. I guess they'll just be an option for this model year while it's the 50th anniversary. As always, I'd love to know what you make of them down in the comments below. Would you take one of these over the standard finishes? I'm not 100% on the modern bikes, but the RS models look absolutely incredible to me and certainly worth the extra cash. I'd also love to know what you think of this general idea of putting retro paint on new bikes. We're seeing more and more of it at the moment. The Fireblade, for example, recently. Also, while I was at Motorcycle Live, I showed that ZX10R with the retro bodywork. It really seems like we might be moving away from the Bonnevilles and whatnot in the retro market and more focused on the 80s and 90s. Take the update to the XSR 900, for example. But is it a good thing, or should the 80s styling live on only in the mind? Let me know what you think, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.